Hey, what's up, everyone? Dragon here with,
Ashley?
and we're doing another trailer reaction for the latest trailer for Underworld Blood Wars, which I'm not mistaken is the fifth Underworld movie. Don't remember what the last one was called, but I do remember liking it, and because I was apparently the only person in the world who liked that movie. So
they made this movie just for you.
apparently, so let's see if it looks just as interesting. So yeah, let's check it out. Underworld Blood Wars.
Here we go.
Cars, guns. Yep, looks like that's one of the guys from the last movie. I recognize him. Ooh, werewolves. It's a big dam. Okay. So it looks like the werewolves are kind of kicking ass.
Yikes, that was a lot of them.
I remember back in the day, they were like, "We're not trying to use a lot of CGI in these movies. We want to stick mostly practical." Huh, I like how that's working out for them.
This January. Hey, it's Tywin.
Yeah. He looks like dancing, this guy. All I'm seeing is dancing.
Are they going beyond the wall?
This one definitely feels like...
Is that Daenerys?
I'm like, this has a bit more of a magical, mystical feel than the last one. Already, I can tell. Yeah.
Like how it was shooting even though he was...
It's commitment.
So... She gets a salon spa day and gets some white frosted tips and...
Frost them tips, baby. Makes all the difference in the world.
That gives her...
Seriously, he looks like Danzig. Am I the only one who sees this? He's fighting Danzig in this movie. Danzig would be a
She
werewolf.
kind of looks like Rogue now. Just wrong white strip area, but whatever.
Reminds me a little bit like the...
She was reborn. How was she reborn?
I hate when they do stuff like that and it like turns... I know it's a nitpick, but I never like that. When like it turns into the letters. This kind of feels a little bit like the Resident Evil movies now, to me, this trailer.
Aren't they made by the same people, or is that just an
No.
association I've made?
Underworld. Blood Wars. It was a cool shot, him going down the thing. And
I'm not that pure.
They did it again.
they did it again. It's like they heard like, oh,
Coming soon!
oh, he's like, yo, you didn't like that asshole? Well, here you go again. So that was the newest trailer for Underworld Blood Wars. It's the first one of these trailers we've reacted to. So what'd you think?
I mean, I know I've seen one or two of the movies, maybe. It's a long time ago, so...
I think it's very similar to the Resident Evil franchise where
You don't
it has a
really
core fan base, but for like most people, when they see a trailer for it, they're kind of like, they're doing another one?
Yeah.
Or those are still happening? Kind of trailer. And even for me, like I kind of have like a passing interest in them.
I mean, it looks interesting. I keep getting Game of Thrones-y flashbacks now.
It looks a little...
It's probably
for
just...
me, it really just kind of feels like when I saw the last Resident Evil trailer that came out, it just kind of feels like it's that kind of movie now where... I don't know. Everyone hated the last one. I don't remember what it was called, so listen to me go. But I like the fact how it was a kind of a post-apocalyptic... Not apocalyptic world, but it's like human beings had found out about vampires and werewolves, or excuse me, lycans. Which is short for lycanthrope. So before some people are like, what actually lichen means? Like, yeah, I know what lichen is short for, and I know what a lycanthrope is. But but anyway, and I kind of like, okay, now it's a world where human beings actively know about them and they're hunting them, and the vampires have been kind of basically living in the sewers now, and what you think is the remains of the lycans are like these emaciated, just scavengers. When you actually find out one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world is a front for this, bioweapons corporation that's run by lycans, and they're genetically engineering themselves to be bigger, stronger, faster, all these different things. And I kind of reminded me a little bit of a Bio Booster Armor Guyver, where there's this big
Zonoids.
genetic corporation that's a front, yeah, Kronos, and it's all run by the Zonoids, or the shape-shifting alien human monsters. And I like that. I was like, it makes sense, because unlike vampires, werewolves can walk in daylight. They can look like us, and when they're in non-werewolf form, they don't look any different than us. So I was like, well, why are werewolves always treated like they're the lesser, or they're always kind of the weaker? Because it's like they have way more advantages than a vampire does. So I like how in that film they kind of explore that, like, well, we can just hide in plain sight and just use the system to our advantage and just now use modern science to further our species. And I thought that was really, really clever. I don't know. In this one, it just kind of feels like they're going backwards a little bit. It's like, okay, because once again, it's very...
Well, I'm just like, they're saying they need her blood, but I'm like...
Yeah, it is... yeah,
I'm assuming.
That seems a little random. But it was kind of... I don't know. These films have always been a bit more vampire-eccentric. And here's my thing. I don't really give a damn about vampires. I've never really liked vampires. I don't mind vampires when they kind of do the more creaturey plague vampire, like the Guillermo del Toro's Blade 2 vampires, or the Strain kind of vampires, where you look at them and you're not thinking to yourself, I want to be them. Like, those vampires...
You don't want to date them, and...
Yeah, these vampires are very like, oh, I would love to be... They're very kind of elegant. Basically, they're just people with blue contacts in, which I'm like, that's fine, but... the problem I've had with some of the Underworld movies, it's very clearly kind of one-sided, where it's you're supposed to root for the vampire, and if you're like me, like, I don't want to be a vampire. I want to be a werewolf because it's way cooler.
Excuse me, is Lycan?
Looks Lycan, yeah. It was the third one was actually a prequel, and it actually showed you how the whole like war between Lycans and vampires started.
I think that's the one I saw.
Okay, and I actually really liked that one, and it's interesting because you really see that the werewolves are slaves. They rebel, and that was like the only one where really you're rooting for the Lycans because they were persecuted and enslaved, and they were fighting for their freedom. So when you kind of see a story like this where the Lycans are trying to exterminate, they're trying to take over, and it's kind of like
they just flip-flopped it, basically.
Yeah, but you kind of deserve it. Like, you were a horrible, ruling tyrannical race of night creatures that were enslaving another. It's kind of like, yeah, you guys are... Whereas the werewolves actually, like, bought into the system, and formed a company and are working to better themselves. Vampires are just kind of these aristocratic, like, we want to rule everyone and everything. And so I'm like, so why are we rooting for the vampire? Aside from the fact that werewolves are just cooler. I don't know. So it feels for me, this trailer kind of like they're going back to that. I'm kind of like, it just feels like we're kind of ignoring the steps forward we've taken. And now, like, again, I'm assuming she's a vampire, the woman with white hair who apparently has...
Daenerys.
Yeah.
I'm just going to call her Daenerys.
And I'm hoping they're not going to say magic, because they've been one thing I've always given credit to this series for is that it's never been supernatural.
Like
it has never been supernatural. They've always been very like, the thing that makes vampires and Lycans it's a virus, it's genetic.
What else could it be? They like wrapped her up and put her in a pond.
And
then she got her little frosted tips.
I mean, unless it's going to be like, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe when we see the movie, it'll explain. I'm hoping, but I don't know. But that's it. And again, once again, it seems very like, okay, let's root for the vampires. The werewolves are evil, even though I'm kind of like, why are they evil? They're just trying to, you guys have been killing them for thousands of years, so why should they suddenly just roll over? Roll over, get it? It's a dog. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of action, but, I don't know. And it's one of those things where it just kind of feels now more like when I see these trailers, the movies feel like they're kind of going by the numbers a little bit. Again, it's a cool premise. I still like the idea. I mean, vampires versus werewolves. I mean, but for someone who's more of a werewolf fan, I kind of feel like the werewolves in these films are more fodder. When it's really, again, the two main characters are following are vampires. It's dealing with, what's happening to the vampires. The werewolves are or the Lycans, and it's all what's going on with the vampires, what's happening to the vampires. Let's follow the vampires. The vampires need to do this. The vampires need to be made strong. I'm just kind of like... So it's... I don't know. For someone who like doesn't really give a damn about vampires, but thinks werewolves are pretty damn cool.
Maybe it's just not the movie for you.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I mean, I don't know. Again, I think
maybe you just need to watch Kate Beckinsale run around in her tight little outfit and enjoy it.
I don't know. It just always seems like the werewolves are kind of villainized when, realistically speaking, based on the mythology these films have set up, the werewolves were the victims initially and are kind of well within their rights to want to wipe the vampires out, because as long as there have been vampires, they've been trying to kill the werewolves. The werewolves are kind of like, listen, yeah, I don't know. But it looks, it looks like an Underworld film. So if you are a fan of this franchise, you will look at this trailer and probably this film and be very, very pleased with what you see. If you don't like these movies, then you'll probably just look at this and be like, that's this again, and just avoid it altogether. It looks, I mean, the CGI is, now that they're actually using CGI, a lot more. It looks good. Like the werewolves when they transform, I like how they're kind of, I don't know. I like how the transformations now are just kind of quick and more like practical in terms, or practical in terms of like, okay, it's not really effective if it takes you like 5 minutes to turn into a werewolf. It's like, and
like the teeth
there was actually it was in the second one where there's this great panoramic shot of one of the lichens transforming and he's changing, and during that time one of the vampires runs up on a horse and just cuts his head off because it's taking him so long to change. I love how here they're just like, "Brah, we're werewolves now," which is way more useful to just kind of go back and forth. But or that could be something from the last film where they've engineered themselves now to be more efficient at transforming. But I was hoping we'd see more of that, more different kinds of lichens, more,
Well, there's always a chance you will.
Yeah, I mean, these all just kind of look like the same. I guess he's trying to get her blood because now she's like a super vampire, apparently.
It's the frosted tips.
Yeah, so now he wants to become and maybe that's how this one will leave off. Well, now there'll be a werewolf who can do that, and we'll make 6 more of these movies.
They just need to have her and have a werewolf have babies and have a super race.
Well, that they had that in the first film. It was the hybrid, or it was the guy who was like half lichen, half.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the
they've
one I
done
saw,
that,
not the third one.
And now they've already gone beyond that, and it's like I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. They definitely play around with interesting ideas and concepts. I just hope they really get into them and really explore them, and not just kind of keep doing the same thing.
Not rehash it.
Yeah. Again, the last film I felt did that a lot. And again, a lot of people didn't really respond well. So maybe that's why they're not doing that this time around, because apparently no one liked the fourth one. So, I don't know. It definitely looks interesting. I will probably see it. I don't know if I'm going to see it maybe in theaters. I might. I mean, we might. I mean, I don't know about you. I mean,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but, hey.
See what happens in January.
It's more monster. I mean, I love gothic-looking stuff, too, so I'm happy
It does look cool.
Yeah.
It looks fun.
I say I'm into gothic-looking things. I'm wearing an Adidas tracksuit right now. It's so gothic. It's black, so it's goth. But yeah, no, so Underworld Blood Wars, the 5th Underworld film. What do you guys think? Do you guys like what you're seeing so far? Do you want to see it? Give us your thoughts. Leave some comments below. Make sure you subscribe and, keep checking in with us for more trailer reactions. It seems like they're again.
Are you team vampire or team werewolf? Or lichen?
Yeah. Oh, no, let's not. Oh, yeah, let's start the whole, Jacob and.
I wasn't going to even go there. But...
Yeah. Team Jacob always gets shafted in the Underworld movies.
God. We're done.
I was always a Jacob fan, man. What can I say? Werewolves got abs. All right, guys. Thanks for checking in. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace!
Later.